Good evening. Welcome in Daily UPSC editorial audio program. Elections need money, but also protection from money. The Times of India. Transparency in political finance is a tricky issue in all democracies. Now that electoral bonds are outlawed, what can India learn from German and American models? Nandita Sen Gupta. Transparency and minimizing illicit funds in electoral finance, party income, campaign funds, and expenditure is hands down the biggest challenge for the democracies world over. Vital to the idea of free and free and fair elections is for voters to know where a party for candidates money is coming from and how they are spending it. How do parties raise funds? From members, individuals, private donors, from unions, trusts, and companies. The last income from companies has been the most con- contagious worldwide, including in India, which decades ago had fleetingly banned corporate donations. The concern is companies that fill party coffers and politicians pockets expert unfair influence on policy, but bans on company donations tend to drive such transactions underground. Two regulations and caps have failed to bring in transparency in such transactions of large amounts. State funding of elections is followed in several countries, mostly in Europe and in some states of US. Most European nations earmark their fund to parties, especially as incentives to promote women's representation and voter education. Scotland incentivizes tax fund to political participation of persons with disabilities. US model funds from political action committees, PACs, super PACs, social welfare groups, national, state, and local party committees, and lobbyists add to individual donations to election campaigns. A 2010 landmark and controversial case, Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission, served swerved political finance towards deregulation by prohibiting government for imposing any restrictions on corporations engaging in uh, electioneering. On state funding, Federal Election Commission set out matching funds for presidential candidates of major and minor parties who meet given criteria. Payments are made from the $3 tax check of a federal income tax forms ask taxpayers if they wish to give $3 to their taxes to presidential election campaign fund. When taxpayers say yes, $3 gives into the fund. This is the sole source of fund for the public funding program. Reportedly, barely 4% taxpayer tick yes. Nominees too are barely interested in tapping this given other sources to big money. German model. State funding as followed in Germany is currently considered the most equitable practice. In this model of matching grants up to 50% of a party's income and no more comes from the state, the amount to a party is decided based on party's vote share in the latest election. European national regional at a flat rate per vote. The rate graded with increasing vote shares. There is a disbursement ceiling to the state kitty. There is no limit on rising private and corporate donations. In no case, however, can a amount of public fund exceed the sum of private funds that a party raises by itself. High value funds must be reported immediately. State financing is used for both party management and elections and can be received uh, can be received in a staggered manner from after the election to the next one. Matching grants ensure that smaller parties two who crossed the threshold of 50% of 5% vote share in the latest election receive assured income from the state. In January, Germany's top court cut funding to a minor far-right party if found to be explicitly undermining German democracy. So, state funds can also be used to penalize why public funding of election is a challenge in India. Per, per various studies, the problem is the nature of our political parties and our political system. With intra-party democracy not quite the norm, state funds will remain in the control of party leadership rather than flow to candidate level. In a first past the post system, Lok Sabha elections especially are highly centralized. Funds allocation basis vote shares will then be unfairly skewed towards the largest national parties. Votes to make their vote count. Vote for party perceived to be winning even though their actual support may be for a smaller regional party. Independence stands to lose, unlikely to have vote share threshold at state or national levels to qualify for state funds. State funds also cannot solve the problem of illicit donations from companies. Why it is a good idea? What state funds can do is reduce parties' dependence on corporate donors and networks at the local level. A Patreon client election time economy. One idea is for matching grants to donations of all uh, donations of small denominations from supporters. If the electorate puts its money where they are voted, parties will be that much more strengthened. But in India, as goes the joke, the reverse is more often true. Voters seek quick returns from candidates against promise of their vote. Matching grants work well in Germany also because its electoral system is a mixed one, where half its seats are directly elected and half elected on party list seats, or the later are then allocated basis on vote shares. How parties are funded can hardly be viewed in a silo. It has as much to do with the electoral system as it has to do with the nature of parties. Thank you.